Stasha, thanks for joining us this afternoon. First of all, to be a breast milk donor, what do I need to have in place?
You have to be healthy, so HIV negative, TB free, syphilis free. So we do a screening for sexually transmitted infections, and you have to have access to a fridge and a freezer. You can also be an in-hospital patient. The same rules apply, but the cold chain management is quite important for donated breast milk and for breast milk donors.
Okay, so then let's say that you're a healthy individual who's able to, and obviously you conduct those tests.
Yes.
In that sense, how then do you start determining when a person actually donates milk? How do they do it? Is it free? In other words, I can come to a hospital and then say, I'm here to donate milk. How does it work?
It is diversified. We have both human milk banking in the public sector and in the private sector. In the public sector, mothers that are in the care of the neonatal ICU with their own babies will donate to the neonatal ICU. In the private sector, we receive applications online from mothers who sign up, and then what we do is we send out containers. Once the containers are returned, we send out to the nurse to do the serology, because as you can understand, a lot of the quality assurance around tissue banking is actually quite expensive.
And then on the other side of it, I mean, it's this whole issue around the fact that reserves are running low. So
Indeed.
Is it because people are not donating milk as often, or people don't necessarily know what to do to assist in that, the awareness issue thereof?
It's seasonal and it's cyclical often. We find that in spring and autumn our supplies do dwindle, and the demand increases because we have a lot of opportunistic infections and diseases that affect the population. You'll see a lot of people with flu and other conditions that do impact maternal health, and therefore we have a higher demand on the reserve, and therefore we need more support from the public. And that goes for not only for the South African Breast Milk Reserve, but all our partner human milk banking organizations like Milk Matters, the Netcare Kaliso banks, all the large urban centers have human milk banks that do need the support of lactating women.
And it's so funny that when you say that they do need the support of lactating women, because a lot of times people may not necessarily understand, why do I need to donate my breast milk? And you were speaking to me off air about how, for example, when you've got premature babies are in such a situation where the mother herself was not given enough time to actually fully lactate, and because of the extra pressure and the stress, she may not be producing the adequate amount of milk that is able to care for baby. And on the other side of it, we're still sitting with statistics where about 29% of pregnant women are actually HIV positive, which means that they can't breastfeed their own baby. They're going to, does that mean that they're
No.
Can they breastfeed?
HIV is not an exclusion criteria for breastfeeding. In fact, the Prevention of Mother to Child Transmission program provides that both mother and baby will be on treatment, and that prolonged breastfeeding is encouraged. So we have one universal message for breastfeeding. What needs to be demystified is the idea that women who receive donated breast milk are lazy and don't want to breastfeed their own babies, which is absolutely not the case. We often have failing maternal health. So we have mummies that go into like severe kidney failure. For instance, one of our recipients, the tiniest one, has a mom that is now on three times a week dialysis, and she's now on the organ transplant list. So we actually have failing maternal health, mothers that themselves are in ICU with babies in neonatal ICU. If you take a very low birth weight baby and you feed it artificially, you're putting this baby at risk of sepsis, which means that it becomes not only a loss of life, but also very heavy on the budgets.
Yeah, and then on the other side of it, I mean, also it's around accessibility, right? So let's say that I am a mom, I have lactated. There are preemies, as you're mentioning, the fact that, you know, if a child is premature, then you need to assist when it comes to the mothers, etc. So where do I go? I mean, I understand that there are milk banks across the country, and I think it's about 7 provinces, but where do I go? How do I get there? When I get to a public hospital, do I say, I'm here to donate my breast milk? And then how long does it stay in the reserve?
Well, our biggest partner in breastfeeding is the Department of Health, and the provincial departments of health are very much on board with the Baby Friendly Health Initiative, which provides that mothers should receive support for breastfeeding, both at the clinic and at the hospital level. Some of the realities at the implementation stage are that we are encountering difficulty in educating the healthcare professionals in offering support. However, it's easy to find a human milk bank. If you have access to the internet, people are welcome to visit our website, which is www.sabr.org.za. Also, they're welcome to call us on our landline, which is 011 482 1920. And there are so many ways. So if you have a smartphone, you can simply Google, and we know that a lot of the population across all SLMs have smartphones. Human Milk Bank closest to me, and you will find that there are numerous initiatives that are not just the South African Breast Milk Reserve that really, really need your support. So yes, there are many ways to find. Most tertiary facilities will have, tertiary hospital facilities will have human milk banks on site, but that is not really what the person will access on a primary care level.
Yeah, I mean, look, I cannot stress the importance of this, and as you get to find out more about it, you start realizing how critical breast milk actually is in the development of any form of baby and any form of human. So to know that you're running low, and if there are people out there who are able to assist, then they must make sure that they do Google and do the right things there. Stash, we're going to leave it there for this afternoon, but thanks a lot for joining us and shedding some light in terms of, the reserves. Reserves are running low. It's from the South African Breast Milk Reserves, and if you want to hop on board, if you're a lactating woman and you want to assist with donating your breast milk, then do the right thing and let's help a baby out.